I have conversations with people who are ready to elevate their awareness, but there's this sense of restlessness, perhaps, and to your point too, is like, oh, but that means that if I elevate my awareness, then I need to do more things. I need to say mantras. I need to journal every day. I need to meditate for an hour. And the key piece is, in order to elevate your awareness of you, which is actually part of our life purpose, is actually kind of wired into each one of us, is to become completely aware of who you are, how you work, what your foibles and your preferences and your what makes your heart sing, what lifts you up. So this is all about up leveling it. My tip here is to recognize where you are.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest, and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another one of our deliciously motivated mindset podcast episode conversation, party on.
Chit chat
Convo. Welcome, dear Deb. Welcome, listeners. We've got a really good, it's a goodie. We haven't said that for a while, eh?
It's a goodie.
But it's always a goodie. So yes, we're going to talk about being ready to elevate your awareness. Are you ready to elevate your awareness? But before we get stuck into that, I'm quite excited about this conversation because I think there's lots of juicy nuggets that we can explore and share and inspire. That's the intention. But before we get into our conversation and sharing these tips, we like to do our check-in. This is the check-in of the 4 pillars of who we are, and that's our PEMS check-in, P-E-M-S. So we're checking in physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And we're going to give ourselves a number on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is completely calm, zen, blissed out, present, feeling really good. And 10, obviously, the other end of the spectrum, is discombobulated, chaotic, crazy making. And the truth is we move up and down that scale. Throughout our days, we move up and down depending on what's going on around us, what's going on internally. And this is just a tool to create awareness, because this is what we're talking about, is elevating our awareness today, right? So all that being said, what we'll do, we're going to assess ourselves where we are right now. And when we encourage the listeners to check in again at the halfway point, and then we'll all check in at the end. The intention of our conversations always is to meet you where you are, wherever you are on that scale, and gently, kindly, lovingly ease you to closer toward that 0. That is the intention of these conversations. So, all that being said, my dear Deb, where are you on our PEMS scale?
I'm going to say a 2 because I've got the hiccups and I've got a cough brewing. I'm like, come on. Apart from everything else, I'm like,
what awareness is coming?
Yeah. Yeah. Am I ready to elevate my awareness? I totally am, 100%. And I'm a 2.
Very good. I'm actually a 1 myself. Oftentimes when you have coughs or things of that nature, I do too. And I'm kind of like, no, I don't. I'm feeling pretty good. But I also have just a sense of want to make sure that we cover the juicy tips to help our listeners really elevate their awareness. And so let's get into this conversation. We encourage you to grab your note-taking device, as Deb likes to say. So pen and pencil, paper, the old-fashioned way. That's how I do note-taking, is with a pencil, purple pencil, actually.
I've actually got a pink pencil in front of me.
Look at she does.
Pink
But I
pencil.
know that some people like doing it on their note app, on their phone or their tablet. So whatever it is for you, let's get into these tips. So let's go into this, breaking this apart, in particular, the elevate your awareness. What does that suggest to you?
So I think my thing is, are you ready to elevate your awareness? I think feedback, my thing is, the truth is, I don't believe anyone's ever ready. So you're never actually ready, because we have all these excuses from past stories, from fear, any of that stuff. So I don't actually know if we are, but we've got that little, I've got too much time in the day. Now Debz and Moira have given me a new thing. I've got to do my PEMS every day. I've got to rate myself, and everything's a hassle, or this is going to add more to my day, procrastinate and all these little things. So that self-talk is very, very important. I just want to get that one out of that. But elevate your awareness to me means taking it up. Taking it up a level, just stepping up but not, you don't have to go step up and go, okay, I've cleaned my house today, so next time I'm going to clean my house, and I'm going to fill my windows and my skirting boards or whatever. Like, you don't have to add things to it, everything. You're elevating your awareness is literally just that, being aware and being open to feedback of what's around, open to just being open, I guess, is elevate your awareness. Being open. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything you don't want to, just because someone tells you. But just being prepared or aware, or that's what I would say is elevate your. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I like it. I do like that, and I kind of agree with you. I think that in my own way,
don't let the grass grow underneath you. There's always room for something, and I'm not going to say improvement. There's always room for something.
Yes, there is always. So I'm thinking about. I have conversations with people who are ready to elevate their awareness, but there's this sense of restlessness, perhaps, and to your point too, is like, oh, but that means that if I elevate my awareness, then I need to do more things. I need to say mantras. I need to journal every day. I need to meditate for an hour. And the key piece is, in order to elevate your awareness of you, which is actually part of our life purpose, is actually kind of wired into each one of us, is to become completely aware of who you are, how you work, what your foibles and your preferences and your what makes your heart sing, what lifts you up. So this is all about up leveling it. So my tip here is to recognize where you are. Where are you on that spectrum? Well, I'm aware that I like to do this type of things and I like to schedule my time this way. It's good. That's the first part, and in order to elevate it, you have to be aware of what's going on at this moment. And it looks like I've tickled Deb's funny bone.
I'm laughing because my tip I wrote down was stop judging. And I'm going, Moira's just saying that. Moira's saying that way. Like, and that is, stop judging. Like, just be aware of it. Like, stop judging yourself. Just wake up. And just, but yeah.
So I like that, because I think that is a separate tip, because something that I think, and I've had this many conversations with clients and students is sometimes that judgment is an inherited thing, right? So that if you've got some kind of inner judgy thing going on, I'd encourage you to pause and say, who said that? Where did it come from? Oh, my dad always said this, or oh, my teacher said that, or right? Because sometimes that judgment is actually an indicator to go, oh, it's not even, I'm aware that that's not even part of me.
It's like, where did that, what? No, that's not even mine. Not even mine to hold on to.
Yeah. So releasing it. So that elevating your awareness means being way more aware of all of your thoughts and your beliefs and your mindset and the words that you use to and about yourself, right?
Yeah. It's yeah. Well, that's the catch and release, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, maybe are you ready to elevate your awareness as a catch and release, or let it go? You know, once you've seen it, that's it.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because the whole thing with my letting go process is one of the key pieces is once you're aware of something, it has no hold on you anymore. Right? So if you're aware,
it's you've instantly downplayed everything. You're just gone, oh, okay.
Yeah. And so then it's kind of, okay, I don't need to keep telling that story anymore. I can rewrite the story. I can get into the more of the flow. Because the other thing too is I see all of our evolution as like this upward spiral. And we're always evolving, but it's really important to find the right pace for you. So sometimes we may go through periods of accelerated awareness and expansion and becoming, and then other times it might just be really slow, and that's okay too, because that's that saying, right? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step.
That's it. Just get moving. Just get moving.
And always know that you've got choice. Awareness helps you have choice as well. Like you can be aware, because and I'll reference my how do I feel about myself question here, because if I'm aware that I feel creative and uplifted and happy and joy filled, that's great. So I'm going to navigate in that direction. Whereas if I feel like I'm weighted down, I'm depleted, I'm tired, I'm going into some kind of chaotic thing, and maybe I need to change and just say, okay, I have the awareness, but it doesn't mean I have to do it. I don't have to keep going. I don't have to follow that path, because with awareness, now I get to choose, right?
I think we, you know, I agree. It is a choice. And I think with that choice, I don't know if this is a separate tip or not, is nothing's fixed in concrete.
Oh, yes.
So actually, maybe that's a separate tip.
That is a separate tip, yeah.
Recognizing that nothing's fixed in concrete. You know, yes, we can choose, and then we can move it or not. Like it's still, you know, I go back to that not fixed in concrete, and I go back to that shifting the goalpost. You know, when I found out I was pregnant, the lady said, you know, and right from that, I was like, yeah, I'll have a child, but not now. God, no, maybe in 10 years' time or something, like, you know, oh God, I couldn't think of it worse having one now. It's like, well, actually, guess what? You are having one. You know, and it was about moving the goalposts. And no, I don't believe I'd ever recognize that you could, like, if it happens, you've got to do it. It's like, actually, no, you know, you don't. You can move the goal. And that was a big kahuna in my world. And I'm sure people have probably said that to me many times, but it didn't land until, you know, about shifting the goalposts, shifting the goalposts as you can.
Right.
You know, so nothing is fixed in concrete. You can change anything at any time, whenever it suits you.
And what I'm writing down was, I'm making this a separate point because it's very similar, but it's more on an emotional level, is that I like to say that all emotions and feelings and states, if you like, are impermanent.
Yeah.
And so if like I'm thinking about conversations where maybe somebody has got a health challenge and they feel powerless. Well, that's just a state. It's just a stage that they're going through. It doesn't mean that they're going to stay there. And so it's more, and this is how come telling yourself the truth about what you're feeling is so, so important, because it helps elevate your awareness. It's okay to feel discombobulated or chaotic or discombobulated in some form, even anxious or fearful. It's okay. These are all impermanent states that we can come through. But it's as soon as we get into storytelling, so we don't want to have a feeling and then start telling stories. So we release the storytelling, right?
Yeah. I
And
think
that's all about awareness.
it is. And, you know, are you ready to elevate your awareness? I don't believe we've actually, even though we talked about our PEMs at the start, I don't believe we've actually gone into that a little bit. You know, this is where your PEMs are.
Mm-hmm.
And your
Yes.
PEMs
It's
come
your
into play, your
emotions.
physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual.
Mhm.
It's just a number.
Yep.
God. You know, and if you're an 8, okay, you're an 8. Okay. And if an hour later you're still an 8, then you're still an 8. Like, don't get hung up that you're an 8. Oh my God, I'm an 8. Yesterday I was a 3. The day before I was a 0. What's going on? I've got to stop all the people around me. I've got no. You're just an 8. That's it. Like, you can look into it or not, but you know, that's part of that awareness. You don't have to like it.
Yeah.
You can just label it, and, you know,
And
and
then it doesn't have the power over you so much.
it doesn't have that zap, that kicker. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Leading on from that, you know, like you were saying in your example of like this person's at an 8 and oh my God, I'm at an 8. My tip here, and you're going to like this one, is gratitude, appreciation. And it was actually this psychology article I was reading the other day when
How can she get that in before I do? Gratitude.
Hey, it's because we've been talking to each other long enough that this happens. But no, I was reading this it was written by a psychologist, and it was talking about weight loss, actually, that suggesting to weigh yourself. Actually, it was suggesting you should weigh yourself every day, which I actually don't agree with, but that's what they were talking about in this. And so the whole propensity then is oh gosh, I exercised, I got all my steps in, and I've been eating well, and it's not budged. It's not budged. So then we kind of get into this aware that we're not shifting. But the suggestion in this article, which I really, really liked, is about looking, and that's what I was thinking about, this gratitude and appreciation. It's like, well, look at other things in your body. Like, are your clothes fitting differently? Are you able to run up the stairs without losing your breath? Are you feeling good? Is your skin clear? And so all these different pieces is what can you appreciate rather than get too overburdened by, oh my God, I'm at an 8, right? There's always something to be appreciative of.
There totally is. And you know, I remember my mum actually saying to me recently, she said, oh, I weigh myself every day. And I was like, what? And she said to me, don't you weigh yourself? I said, I don't even know if there's batteries in the scales, Mum. She's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I can't even tell you. I said, I go for a yearly blood test, a wellness woman's check at the doctor. I said, that's when I weigh myself. She goes, well, have you moved up? I said, I didn't even ask them what I weigh. And she was like, what? Don't you know how much you weigh? And I remember she was really dumbfounded with me. She was like, what do you mean you don't know how much you weigh? And I went like, I don't know. She said, but you don't check every year then if you do it just yearly? And I was like, no, I just, no. So I guess it's, you know, elevate your awareness. You're more aware of things that are important to you.
Yes.
So for me, clearly weight's not important to me.
Yeah.
If my clothes are tight, I'll go, oh, okay, I'll stop eating this.
Yeah.
And that's when I'll elevate my awareness. But I'm not going to be, and I'm going to say rigid. I'm not going to weigh myself every day. I guess, you know. But it was quite funny to have Mum so black and me so white, or me so black and Mum so white. You know, because we had the, you know, she brought me up. Clearly, is tried for the last 50 whatever years. It's still, but your awareness is what's important to you. You can, you know, you can go into a conversation if people are talking about something, tractors and mechanicals. I'm literally zooming in on that conversation, and then you can just see me
leaving. See the beep.
Yeah,
the backup indicator goes beep 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 beep.
Yeah,
leaving
totally.
this space.
Totally. And I was funny I say that because I was at a party on Saturday night, and I don't go to parties. Let's just clarify that for a start. And there was a few country-ish people there, and I say country-ish people. Country-ish. And they were talking about tractors and how you fix a tractor, and I was literally like looking around going, how quick can I get out of this conversation that people don't know that I've just beeped out of it. But you know, it's not my zone of genius. So to elevate my awareness, I listened to a part of it that I could engage in a little bit of conversation, but then that was it for me. And so I did definitely feel dumb, but it didn't interest me to talk about tractors and how to fix a tractor and what type of tractor have you got. Now, all I know is there's a tractor out there called John Deere. That's it. That's all I know.
That's all I know.
No, but you know, it's what's important to you. Your awareness is what's important to you. It's great to know a little bit of knowledge about everything, but you know, stick to that zone of genius or what it is, you know.
So I like that. So I'm going to make this 2 tips, because that one is really important, is that you are aware of what is important to you. But the one, and I'm going to, I like what you said about sticking to your zone of genius, but it's also about don't compare yourself to others. So you take that example that you just said about weighing yourself.
Thanks, Mum.
Some people could have that kind of dialogue going on where your mum came and says, what do you mean you don't you weigh yourself every day? And so you could, and some people might do this, oh, I better do it. Because obviously, if I'm going to be a good steward of this body and look after this body, then I need to do it because they told me. I'm aware I don't do it, but they have this awareness that says I need to do it every day. And so that is not going to elevate your awareness. That's actually going to should you and restrict you and burden you. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying this is a separate one. Stick to your zone. Stick to what means something to you. And that's where we talk about, I've said before that I don't like the why, asking ourselves why, but I'm saying find your why, meaning like what is your why for stepping on the scale every day or not? Like I said, I read this and I've heard it before, but it's not my thing. I'm not going to do it every day. Because it's just that isn't my why. Is yes, I'd like to I do step on it more than once a year.
Oh, I don't. I literally don't even know if we've got batteries in the scales. And Mum will tell me, because when she comes to say, she obviously weighs herself. But I just, and it's in the other bathroom. And at the moment we're in winter, and I'm not going in the other bathroom, and we've got a warm suite. Like I've obviously made it clearly inconvenient for the last, I don't know, 5 years. But I just don't take notice of it. But you know, hearing that Mum. I was really like, you do what? Every day, Mum? Every day? She's like, yes. And I'm like, every day? Like, I just couldn't be bothered because it's not my important. But I mean, I probably boo-hooed her more because I was really like, why would you do it every day? Like, what's the purpose of that? But it's important to her.
Right.
So I think that's the other thing is be aware of what's, don't boo-hoo other people for their stuff.
Yes, definitely. It's not about putting your agenda on somebody else or taking their agenda.
Theirs,
right?
Yeah, or taking their agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I could have, yeah, you're right. I could have just gone, oh, I'm a bad person. I need to weigh myself. That's really bad. Deborah, you talk about health, but you don't weigh yourself. I'm like, yeah, I don't. So, or maybe you should, when people talk about how much weight have you lost in a year? I don't. I've bought bigger clothes, or I've bought lesser clothes. Or
you said that to me before. That makes me giggle. But you did say something that I think is really important, is that you're aware of that, but you are also aware that if you started to feel your clothes a bit tighter, then you'd say, oh, your awareness would say, I need to do something different.
So I think that's the thing is one size doesn't fit all.
Mhm.
And so funnily, I'm talking about clothes.
Yeah.
But one size. So if mum wants to weigh herself, and if mum's listening to this, she's probably going, "Oh my God, Deborah, it was just a 2-minute conversation, for goodness sake."
Mhm.
But if that works for her,
That's
that's
great.
her.
And so you can celebrate that that's how her choice is. Absolutely.
That's her human design. If we're going to talk
Yeah,
about
exactly.
human design.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you don't know what human design is, there's another tip. Moira,
Let me
talk
know.
about
I
human
can help
design.
you.
Yeah, talk about human design, but not one size fits all.
Mhm. So I'm adding to that. It's not one size fits all, but celebrate the quirkiness and the difference between each individual's choice, right? I think that's an
Yeah.
important part. It's
Your individuality. Yeah, celebrate your
yeah,
individuality. Yeah.
yeah. And you can be, because sometimes you may hear from somebody that they are doing something, their awareness teaches them to look after themselves in a specific way, and they tell you. And if it goes to you and you go, oh, that's an interesting perspective, I'm going to try that on, then great. You can try it on. That's how you really do get to elevate your awareness. This is almost
Yeah,
like
that's right.
try
It's
it,
not being ignorant and blind.
Mhm.
You could just look and go, that's interesting. But yes.
Yeah, so that's why I say, oh, that's an interesting point of view.
Yeah. See, Moira's a lot more gracious than me. Why the fuck would you want to do that? Well, fine.
That would be how she deals.
Like, what? That's just stupid. Yeah. Moira's got a few years on me on that. But it is that celebrate your individuality.
Yeah.
And I know I just mentioned human design before, but Moira does do human design. And I remember when she did one for myself and my partner, and it just went, oh, that makes sense why
Yeah.
it takes this amount of time to make a decision, whereas me, it takes this amount of time.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were very similar. No.
I know. I know.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
And you do think someone's similar, but when you actually do that human design, it definitely nails it down to,
Oh yeah.
And then you're like, wow, that makes so much sense. That
Yep.
makes, and then you actually, you do appreciate them more. You do have an awareness. And I think that celebrate that individuality, that human design definitely, it makes you do it because you go, oh, well,
Yeah.
no, of course, but of course,
But of course.
of course.
Absolutely. But of course. Like,
Yeah.
I remember it because that was it was very helpful in my relationship too. Because my husband takes a long time to make a decision, whereas me, I make it right here, right in this moment.
Yeah.
And so then figuring out that, oh yeah, I gotta go sleep on it and get back to me tomorrow. And it's so good because then it celebrates that's how it works.
And you're not trying to force something and going, what's wrong with you? Why can't you make a decision? What's going on? What have I not given you enough information? Do you want me to give you more? You know, and you spend more energy trying to get them to make a bloody decision. And they're like, they spend more energy going, what's wrong with her? Where does she live with? What? Just leave me alone. And all she's doing is Pac-Manning.
Big.
Big. It's like, God, yeah. But human design is a beautiful. I mean, there's lots of characteristic profiles out there, but human design is definitely. I mean, I do DISC, and but it is just it's just showing you and going, oh, no wonder.
Yeah.
No wonder we clash in this decision.
Yeah,
and it just
butt
means
heads over here, or
yeah. Well, you fully celebrate yourself.
That's
and
right.
and them. You're like, oh, but of course,
Exactly.
yeah,
So I think that's and that's the vibe of what we're talking about here, as we elevate our own awareness of our own self, it actually allows us to hold space for other people and not then feel like I know how to deal with this, or I know how this should be done. I know how you should make your choices and your decisions.
yeah,
You don't. You know how you make them, but
yeah.
not others. And so it's about not forcing an agenda on somebody else. It's a really important part.
No matter how much we want to.
But even to yourself too, though. I think that as we elevate our awareness, sometimes we can get into a sticky, stuck way. It's like, well, I've always done it this way, and so as soon as I hear that, I've always done it this way, I go, huh? But is it the best way? Does it click? Does it make you happy? Does it feel flowing? Because it's totally okay as you step more and more into this awareness. It's like we've talked about this before on previous episodes, where I am aware that my energy is different now in my 50s than it was when I was in my 20s and 30s. So I couldn't have a pattern or a belief system or a paradigm that I worked with and was quite happy with in my 20s and 30s. It doesn't suit now.
Well, we're ever evolving, and I think that's the other thing,
Exactly.
and that is definitely elevating your awareness. The other, I just wrote down flow versus out of flow.
I like that.
Which is the same, which is desperation versus inspiration.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
when you've got that white knuckle and you're trying to do something and you're white knuckled and you're frustrated and you can feel it all, you're out of flow. You're desperate. And it won't work. It will hang on. It will work, but it will work at a level that's probably not the best and wisest, because it'll work. Yes, you can tighten that wrench, whatever. You can get that nut going, blah, 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 blah. But in reality, that's, you're going to hate that job. There's going to be frustration, that energy you're going to put into that job or anything. So when you're in flow, it's just time flies, all those things.
Yeah.
Things just fall into place so much better.
And I agree with you. And I think that as you elevate your awareness, when you start getting into situations that are not in flow, and I know I do this myself, is if I go to work on a project and I go and open a file and maybe that file's corrupted, or I try and do something on the web. Actually, this happened this morning. I went to open up my website and it sat there and spun around, and then said error. That was it.
Ugh.
White screen, error. And I'm like, oh man. And I knew I had done some upgrades on the back end of it. So I went in and disabled a whole bunch of the plugins, went back to try and log in again. I couldn't. It was still. And then I have these wee icons on my desktop that have my logo on it, and the logo disappeared.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, guess I'm not doing this right now. And so
which amuses me, because Moira's very good at tech, so I would have been screaming and ranting, and she's like, oh, if Moira can't do it, there's no way I could bloody do it. That's my thing. Yeah.
So actually it's really funny, because I just went, oh, okay, I'm not doing that right now. But I did actually submit a ticket to my service provider to sort of say, yeah, I did all the things that I know to do, still wasn't working. So submit a ticket and say, okay, it's not for me to do right now because I'm not in flow, right? So then I go and let them deal with it. And then it was so funny, because I went back, I still had the tab open, and all of a sudden my site loaded. And so I got a confirmation from my service provider saying, we got your ticket. And I'm like, oh, it's okay.
Funnily enough, it's just
you can cancel the ticket. But here's the thing that was really funny about that flow thing, because really what happened was that me going through the steps of disabling things that I knew I should do, that it just hadn't caught up with my flow. So I just thought it was fascinating experience to just kind of.
Well, I think, yeah, well, see, that's check your time frames. are they, timeframes, are they realistic?
Yep.
And are they realistic to you? Are they realistic to others?
And to the other parts that are
I
involved.
was just going to say, but the other big one is, are they realistic to the universe, the ether,
Exactly. Yeah.
because 2020, and I'm going to say this, 2020 had its own time frame,
It
not my
certainly
time
did.
frame of things happening. And I don't know
We
who
call
was
it
aware
the
of
year of pivot.
Yeah, that was it. So check your realistic lifetime.
Yeah, well, your
stuff.
expectations. Check your
Yeah.
expectations. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And be willing. Well, see, when we're in flow, we can kind of go, oh, I guess I thought I was going to be doing this, but I'm going to do this. Because anyways, I did get everything done. It just was in a different order than what I had intended initially.
I know. But when you get that, you're then left with, oh, okay. And like that, oh, that makes so much sense. Or that, yeah, like, oh, okay, that's it then.
Yeah.
That's it. And don't judge yourself. I'm sure I've said something along here about what's your judgment. Oh yeah, number 2 was stop judging.
Yep.
Just be aware of that. Realistic timeframes. Oh, I should have known, or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Any of that stuff. Like, just check those realistic timeframes. Are they realistic? Like, and be okay with it if that's what it is.
Even with that too, I think of your tip about moving the goalposts. Because even if you did have a realistic time frame and then something happened.
Then 2020 happened.
Yeah, 2020 happened. Something changes. Somebody else says, hey, I need this. I need you to help me here. Something shifts. Then it's like, oh, okay. Doesn't mean that I have to hold rigid to that original time frame. It's like, oh, something just shifted. So it's a flow. Here's a flow, right?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. So we've got one more tip before we wrap up. So Moira, do you want to give the last tip?
The last tip, to elevate your awareness. I'm going to say, and I've talked about this in other episodes too, is the be the observed and the observer. So by that, I mean, in order to elevate your awareness, this is almost like trying on a new outfit, standing in your favorite boutique, trying on a new outfit and saying, how do I feel in myself in this? Looking in the mirror, how does it make me feel? What's your awareness of that? Is it like, does it lift you? Did it boost you? Did it make you feel loved? Did it make you feel worthy? And that's the most beautiful way of elevating your awareness. Whereas if it's draining you or depleting you or making you wonder or question, then that's like, okay, I'm gonna try another outfit on.
Yeah.
Right.
And I one of the favorite questions I have that Moira talks about is it good for me? Is it good for others?
And do I want to?
And do I want to? And if there's a waiver in that,
in
then
any of
no.
them,
So
yeah,
all 3 have to be a hallelujah, yes.
absolutely.
And the dogs just turned around and looked at me as if to say, what did you just do? It has to be a yes. So is it good for me? Yes. Is it good for others? Yes. Do I want to do it?
Then it's a no.
Then it's a no. Then back away. So I think that's a great one with the observer and the observer. Observer versus the ER.
Yep. Definitely. That's that. It's such a. I shared that with somebody a couple of weeks ago, and she just was so lit up, so. It gave her such power and freedom because she was going along doing something because it was good for the others.
Well, it takes the pressure away.
It absolutely did.
Yeah,
it just suddenly gave her permission of like, oh, it's not right for me. So elevate your awareness that's the really best tip to wrap this conversation up with a nice big beautiful bow, I would say.
Yeah definitely the snow globe of love.
Yes.
All right, so let's recap everything. So are you ready to elevate your awareness? If you don't have a pen and paper or a note-taking device, then the answer is no for you. You're not ready to elevate your awareness. So I would suggest you quickly grab it now. 3, 2, 1. And Moira and I are going to recap where we're at. So I know one of the things I actually started with was, as you'll never be ready. It's that self-talk, that's that procrastination talk. Now, I know this is not, wasn't actually a tip, and Moira did ask me, what does elevate your awareness mean? And I went off on my own little tangent. But surprise, we have this self-talk and we go, oh, I'm never going to be ready for that.
Yeah.
Or, procrastination, oh, I've got to do this first. And just be aware. To elevate your awareness is watch your self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like external, internal, whatever it is, just watch that self-talk, because that's the one that rules, runs, and controls you.
Absolutely. And that's where I was saying about that, just recognize where you are and go from there. Because if you are in that pickle of oh my God, it's such a hassle and I have to do this and it's going to take forever, then that's where you are.
Yeah, totally.
Start there.
Totally.
Start there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next one, I have the next tip is stop judging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said stop judging, and then I took it further and said that I encourage people to pause. Like if you say, if the inner dialogue saying, oh, that's going to take a long time to get that, or you'll never get it, I say pause and say, who said that? Because sometimes we have inherited those types of mindsets and beliefs and patterns.
Yeah.
So that inner judge is sometimes a wee bit of a guide to say, I'm just allowing this past paradigm to
yeah, and it is a guide to go
yep.
A bit of that.
Yeah, definitely. The next one we talked about was, I like you said, catch and release. There's actually a song called Catch and Release, I believe. Yeah, I was hearing that in my head when you're talking about it. But this is when we're doing my favorite thing to talk about is letting go. It's about so elevating your awareness is about, oh, there's something that comes up. There's a trigger, and then let it go. And then, oh, there's a thought or a word or a way of doing something or saying something. Okay, thank you, and let it go. Right?
Yeah, and yeah, because everything can be let go. Catch and release. Don't 100%. Hold that anymore. Yeah.
Yep. Let it go, let it flow. Absolutely.
Yep. So the next one I have is choice. Like you have the choices.
Mm-hmm.
You have the choice of doing whatever you want, when you want, how you want. It doesn't have to be. Oh yeah, then we went to the next. Like they're all just sort of fall into one, and it doesn't have to be rigid. You have the choice. You have the choice. This is your life to rule it whatever way you want. This is your choice. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's when you said nothing is fixed in concrete.
Yeah,
right. So definitely. It's not just because it was that way last time doesn't mean it's going to be that way again. Yeah. But if you want it to, or if you choose it to be that way, then do it. Right. And that's what led me into saying, as a separate tip, was that all emotions and feelings are impermanent. So it's about allowing yourself to feel it, the fear, the anxiety, the discombobulation, and let it go, because it's not going to stay. However, when we get into storytelling, we can make it longer, right?
And it is, and it can throw you right out. And this is where I talked about your PEMS.
Yeah.
Which is your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And when the pillars are out of order, shite happens.
Yeah, it's pretty wobbly. 4 pillars, they need to be looked after, and yes, stuff happens and it gets wobbly. Definitely.
Yeah, totally.
And that's when I said about gratitude and appreciation. Because
my fave.
Deb's fave, my fave too. That's when the example you were doing of when we were saying about the PEMS, like saying, oh, I'm an 8, I'm still an 8. And then the next day, oh, I'm still an 8. Yes, okay, maybe you're still an 8, but what can you appreciate? What's around you that you're grateful for, that you have appreciation for? Because there always is something. There's always 100% of the time stuff
Yeah.
to be grateful for, something to appreciate.
Totally, absolutely. And this is where we we jumped into you're aware of what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I talked a little bit about my mum on the scales.
Scale, yeah.
She's probably going, did you have to bring that back up again? You're aware of what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel your energy. It depletes your energy when you're around things. So definitely take on board what's around you. Look at that, but you don't have to take it on board.
That's right, because that was that next tip that I said, was to stay with that, stay with what's important to you, stick to your zone, as Deb says.
Yeah.
But it's to say, this is my why, this resonates for me, and you recognize if somebody else is maybe pushing an agenda on you. If it's not jiving with you, then it's not for you. It's not in alignment with what's right for your awareness, right?
Don't take on other people's stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to take on other people's stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we jumped into not one size fits all.
Yeah, I like that one. Not one, and you said that, and that's when I said celebrate others.
And celebrate the individuality, celebrate yourself and others. And then we went on to a big thing about human design, because human design is so inspiring, and I'm just going to rave about it a little bit more. But it was the game changer, and you said in your relationship, it was also a bit of a game changer in ours as well.
Yeah.
So to actually go, oh, that explains it. That explains why you do that way, and why I do this way.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you've got, and that elevates your awareness. So even if you're in an intimate relationship and you're looking at that human design, when you understand that, and you go into a business relationship, you understand it. Or then you go to a family dynamic and someone says something, you're like, oh, I now understand that. And that's your awareness. So it's not just tunnel vision of your intimate relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bigger funnel of every person you connect with.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it is, like you said, it is a game changer, because it's having awareness of you and awareness of how you interact and with others, and how they interact with you, how they show up. That's when we went from here. We talked about the flow versus out of flow. What I was saying is about always ever evolving, and that when we are in flow, that's when you are elevating your awareness. But you can also have an awareness that if things start to break, or I shared that story with me trying to log into the back end of my website this morning, and it's a little bit freaky to see error. But I did it. It's like, oh, this isn't flowing. Like, I don't need to get all embroiled in it. And I actually chuckled at myself at how quickly it was fixed. And who knows, the maybe there was an energetic little fix happened just by me letting go and not feeling like, oh, I have to go down this rabbit hole, because I've done that before. It doesn't work.
And you said fixed, having it, I'm so fixed on this is how it has to be. And it doesn't.
It
doesn't. And I don't know who said this, but check your expectations. Are they realistic timeframes? And I know we dabbled a little bit on 2020, good old 2020, the year of pivot. But our expectations, so the expectations of yours and others, and I'm going to say the wider force, I don't know what you'd call the universe, whatever, it has its own expectations as well, and get yourself all in alignment, because I tell you what, when those are in alignment, there's so much beauty in that flow.
Absolutely. And that's the part where I added in your piece that you say about you can always move the goalposts. So if you went at something and you said, right here, right now, based on everything I know and all the moving parts around me, this is a realistic time frame. But then, tomorrow something might completely change, and you go, I need to readjust this. So it's knowing that that's totally doable.
Yeah. And the last one.
The last one, the observed and the observer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's what a beautiful one to end on, because the three, I say the three things
And
and I
she's
hold
got
up
4 fingers.
I went, hang on, that's clearly not three. Is this good? Is it good for me?
Yeah. Yes or
Is
no?
it good for others?
Yes or
I know
no?
what the fourth finger is. Do I want to do it?
Yes or no?
The fourth
Yeah.
finger is a yes or no. That's what it is. But it is.
But it is. And the thing about those 3 questions is, in order to do something, you do need 3 resounding yeses. It
Yeah.
can't be a yes, yes, meh, not sure, because that's actually a no.
Right. There ain't no maybe. There ain't no hesitation. It's bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Precisely. Yes.
Yeah. And no matter what your human design, it is a yes, yes, yes.
That's right.
So, if you have someone who, I just want, because I know Moira mentioned about her partner, husband, saying it takes him, he's got to sleep on it overnight, whereas Moira's like, straight away. So even if they have to sleep with it over the night, so it's the thing, it's still a yes, yes, yes.
That's right. Yep. 100%. Doesn't matter how you're wired to make a decision. It's still, those 3 questions are still appropriate. Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Awesome.
What a fabulous podcast.
I love this one.
On this one. Yeah, this is definitely definitely a great one. They all are, but just rave about it. So I was a 2. What were you at the start? You were
I was a 1.
You're a 1.
I was a 1.
So I was a 2. Moira was a 1. Let us know where you were, people. And now, where are you now, Moira?
I'm 0. You probably knew that.
Yeah, that took me to a 0 too.
Awesome.
And I think that last one, the last 2, is your expectations and your realistic timeframes, and the observer and the observer, ER and OR. I think they were the 2 that really just tipped me over, because I would have said I was a 0.5 until then.
Right. Well, good. Yeah, I like it when that happens for you.
I know, yeah.
And it can happen just as subtly as that. It's like, oh, there it is. That's my sense
drop
of
me
bliss.
into it.
Yeah,
perfect. Woohoo! So let us know where you're at, people, and let us know what comment what tip you really loved the most.
Definitely.
So if you liked this today, if you like this, the next step is share it with those you care about.
Yeah.
Let's get this podcast out there, because this is also about not just elevating your awareness, but elevating others around as well. And they're obviously worthy of it, because you associate with them and you're worthy of it. So it's going to generate some interesting conversations if you share this podcast with other people. So that's the next step. Share. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you to the Gratitude and Appreciation for the Internet working today.
Definitely. Yeah, it worked good today.
And thank you to Moira. Yeah, I know. Thank you to Moira on the other side of the world. Thank you to the sun shining on her day. She's ending her day, and we've got sun starting to shine as we go into another day of winter. Yeah, that's the one. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Moira. And this is our deliciously motivated mindset conversation with Debz and Moira on Are You Ready to Elevate Your Awareness?
Yes, beautiful one. Love this episode a lot. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, dear Deb. We'll catch you next time. Bye.